My name is LaTrayl Adams, and I am the Director of Social Emotional Learning and Restorative Practices for Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools. Today, we're exploring a transformative approach in education that shifts our perspective from punitive measures to fostering a culture of respect, understanding, and collective growth. I'm here to discuss how restorative practices can radically change our schools, districts, and communities for the better. So let's take a moment to discuss what restorative practices really are. Restorative practices are not just a tool for managing misbehavior, but a philosophy, a science of community and relationships that nurtures the development of communities within our schools. This approach emphasizes repairing harm and restoring relationships rather than punishing students for infractions. It's about understanding the why behind behaviors, addressing those causes, and working together to build a supportive school and classroom climate. As we delve into the restorative approach, championed by the International Institute for Restorative Practices, we encounter the social discipline window, a crucial framework that categorizes disciplinary approaches based on two key dimensions: control and support. This framework outlines four distinct styles. Let's explore. First, we have the high control, low support, or the two box, which is a punitive approach that focuses on penalties and exclusion, leading to resentment and disengagement. Then there is the low control, low support, or the not box, which is a neglectful approach that fails to address issues or support individuals, resulting in chaos and lack of guidance. We also have the low control, high support box. This is known as the 4 box, which is a permissive approach that provides support but lacks clear boundaries and expectations, leading to confusion and inconsistency. The high control, high support is what we are aiming for. This is the with box, a restorative approach that balances accountability with empathy, aiming to repair harm and rebuild relationships. It also supports relationship and community building and elevating the voice of others. Now let's explore the restorative practices continuum, which illustrates how these strategies can be implemented across different contexts. Informal practices are everyday interactions, such as effective statements that express feelings and effective questions that help people reflect on how their actions affect others. These practices are proactive, fostering a supportive environment and reinforcing community bonds on a daily basis. Restorative conversations are quick, on-the-spot conversations to address minor issues or misunderstandings before they escalate. This level is responsive, yet still relatively informal, requiring minimal preparation. Then there's facilitated circles. Facilitated circles are structured discussions used both proactively to build relationships and community, and responsively to address and resolve conflicts. Circles create a safe space for all voices to be heard and for collective solutions to be developed. Then finally, we have formal conferences. Formal conferences are more for serious conflicts. Formal conferences involve not just the affected parties, but also key community members. These sessions are carefully planned and structured to address wrongdoing, repair harm, and rebuild relationships effectively. They also often involve more people and take more time to plan. In the context of restorative practices in education, the 80-20 rule can be applied to emphasize the importance of proactive measures that build community and prevent conflicts. By applying the 80-20 rule, schools should focus the majority of their energy on proactive measures that build a strong foundation and less on managing conflict after it has occurred. This shift not only optimizes resources, but also enhances the overall educational environment, making it more conducive to learning and growth. This approach aligns well with the preventative aspect of education, investing in building a positive community that naturally reduces the frequency and severity of conflicts. It helps educators and administrators to not just react to problems, but to actively create nurturing educational environment where problems are less likely to arise in the first place. The power of restorative practices in schools is multifaceted, offering significant benefits across different areas of the educational environment. We've talked about how restorative practices builds stronger school communities, but restorative practices also fosters a sense of belonging and community by emphasizing relationships and mutual respect among students, teachers, and staff. Restorative practices also reduces bullying and conflict by addressing the root causes of conflict and facilitating dialogue. Schools implementing restorative practices report lower suspension and expulsion rates, leading to more inclusive learning environments and less lost instructional time. Restorative practices have also been shown to improve student behavior and responsibility. Students learn to take responsibility for their actions, understand the impact on others, and are involved in making amends and promoting positive behavior changes. Restorative practices boost academic achievement. With improved school climate and reduced disciplinary interruptions, students are better able to focus on learning, contributing to enhanced academic outcomes. And last, but certainly not least, restorative practices strengthen student-teacher relationships and promotes equity by addressing systemic inequities and ensuring all students have a voice and are treated fairly, helping to dismantle disparities in school discipline. With a wealth of data highlighting disproportionate discipline, it's crucial that we reevaluate our strategies. It's widely recognized that Black and Brown children experience higher suspension rates. Embracing restorative practices offers immense potential to transform discipline in schools and districts. These approaches promote accountability, foster inclusive decision-making, nurture communication and conflict resolution skills, reduce repeat offenses, improve school climate, enable early intervention, address disparities, and strengthen community relationships. So if you haven't considered integrating restorative practices yet, now is definitely the time to do so. As you may know, restorative practices in social-emotional learning are closely aligned in fostering inclusive and equitable educational environments. Both emphasize empowering youth by amplifying their voices and ensuring active participation in their educational journey. Both SEL and restorative practices strive for equitable outcomes by teaching essential skills like empathy and emotional regulation and focusing on conflict resolution rather than punitive measures. This helps in building respectful, welcoming environments that support strong, healthy relationships among students and between students and adults. By integrating both formal and informal practices across the whole school, both SEL and restorative practices prepare students for success as responsible, caring members of a multicultural society. Restorative practices not only aligns well with social-emotional learning, but also seamlessly integrates with a range of other educational frameworks, such as positive behavioral interventions and supports, multi-tiered system of supports, trauma-informed practices, culturally responsive teaching, and the whole child approach. This integration forms a comprehensive, holistic framework that significantly enhances student well-being and educational outcomes. By including these various aspects of student development and support, this unified approach promotes a more inclusive, responsive, and supportive educational environment. It addresses students' social, emotional, cultural, and academic needs, ensuring a nurturing setting that fosters growth, resilience, and success for all students. So where do you begin? Implementing restorative practices in schools begins with a comprehensive training for educators and staff on restorative principles and techniques. This foundational step is followed by engaging the entire school community, including students, parents, and stakeholders, through informational sessions and workshops to garner support. This process continues with revising school and district policies to prioritize restorative approaches over punitive ones, creating designated spaces for restorative interactions, and weaving restorative principles into the curriculum. To ensure success and continuous improvement, ongoing support and evaluation are essential. Ultimately, these efforts aim to develop a restorative culture throughout the school, fostering a commitment to more equitable, effective, and well-aligned educational environments. Implementing restorative practices in educational settings can be both challenging and rewarding. Key challenges include resistance to change, the necessity for extensive training and professional development, securing funding and resources, managing time constraints, maintaining consistency and fidelity in application, accurately measuring the success, and making necessary cultural adaptations. Overcoming these obstacles demands dedicated and persistent effort. Successfully navigating these challenges, however, can lead to a significantly more equitable and effective educational environment, ultimately benefiting the entire school community. So now that you have learned all about restorative practices, will you step forward and join the restorative practices movement? You can begin by advocating for essential policy changes at the school, district, and state levels, supporting practices that heal rather than harm. You can also participate in comprehensive training programs and encourage educators and administrators and school staff to embrace ongoing professional development. You can build strong community partnerships to enhance the sustainability and impact of these practices. You can also share the many inspiring success stories and compelling data from schools that have successfully implemented restorative practices, showcasing the transformative changes and positive outcomes they bring. Let's embark on a journey of continuous learning, always open and adaptable. I urge you to engage in profound self-reflection, considering your own practices and biases to better align with the compassionate principles of restorative practices. Through these reflective actions, we can help forge a restorative culture that inspires every member of our school communities to cherish relationships, uphold respect, and share responsibility for the well-being of every single student. Together, let's champion a movement that transforms our schools into environments where every individual is valued and thrives. This is not just an invitation, it's a call to make a lasting difference in the lives of our students and their futures.